Consider how these series of videos have altered your sales techniques. Consider how many times that you've implemented this, and consider this video today, what you're going to learn. Are you going to practice it on your first customer or your second customer? Which one are you going to practice it on? As you continue watching these advanced trainings, what shifts have you seen in your thinking, and what shifts do you believe you're going to see? Here's the idea. This is the most savage, assumptive sales approach you can ever take on. And in fact, most people don't do this consciously or unconsciously. In fact, you have to be intentional about this. I've met very few people that actually can just do this naturally, because it's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of communicating. It's a different way of speaking. One of the things that you got to understand is that this is going to close. This is going to take the customer through the close, through the transition to the close, all the while you're closing them along the way. This is how this is going to work. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. So suppose I'm selling roofs. A question like this would sound like this. Hey, which shingle do you want to put on your roof? Is it going to be the brown one or is it going to be the green one? Which shingle do you think that we want to use on your brand new roof? Now, I'm presupposing that they've already made the decision and now we're picking out the shingle color. If I'm selling pest control, I'm like, hey, which day of the week works best for you for the service structure, Tuesdays or Thursdays? This presupposes they've already made the decision to go with the product, and now we're just going to pin down the time so that they can get on the schedule. The thing is this is what's called presuppositions. Presume. You're presuming that they're already moving forward, and you're presupposing that obviously now you're picking out the next series of things that you have to do. You presume they're moving forward. The decision's already been made. They're not deciding if, they're picking certain things out. Shingle color, which day. The thing that I use this on most is when I'm setting appointments door to door. I'm going to ask them, hey, which day works? Does tomorrow or the next day work best for you to schedule your consult? Do morning or afternoons work best for you? This presupposes that they're picking a time, not, hey, what would be a good time for you guys to sit down with me? You ask them that question, like, never, next month, 2 years from now. So now I'm going to be guiding the customer. I'm going to relieve the buying stress that the customer has. You got to understand, when the customer is feeling like they're making a decision and it's going to be permanent, they're going to have buying anxiety. And so they're going to be get into this place where their heart's beating, their palms are sweaty, their physiology changes, their temperament changes, because they feel like they're being cornered and they feel like they're buying something. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to naturally guide them into making a good decision. It's good for them, good for me, good for everybody. Whatever I sell is universally good for all. It's a win or win bigger. But here's the idea, is I'm going to take the decision making out of it and I'm going to make the decisions for them. If you sell a product, you should assume that everybody wants your product. I am sold on whatever product I've ever sold. I am sold that everybody needs this product. I have the product myself. I use the product myself. I'm a beneficiary of the product myself. And obviously they want the product too, because it gives them control, freedom, better quality of life. It gives them certainty. Like, everybody wants those things. So obviously they want those things as well. And so I'm going to guide the conversation, and I'm going to use these presuppositions throughout the presentation. So I remember, and I'm going to tell you about the first time I ever used a presupposition and I didn't know what I was doing. So when I first got into sales, I was a door knocker. I did this blitz trip in Yuma, Arizona, and they gave me this training manual. And in this training manual, I had different techniques on approaching clients with doors. It was door-to-door alarms. And the other techniques were very basic and just knocking on the door. Hey, can I use your phone real fast? Hey, we got to be able to schedule the route, and you'd get inside the home. There's different techniques to get inside the home, but there was this one savage technique, and I had never seen anybody do it. I'd never seen anybody do it. It's where you take a sign. You had an alarm sign. It was ADT at the time. And what I do is I knock on the door. The training manual said knock on the door, and then when they come out, say, hey, where do you want the sign at? Do you want it over here or over here? And then the people, obviously, it breaks all their patterns, and they're like, what sign are you talking about? And then what you'd say is you'd be like, okay, hey, I'm just the guy. They didn't call you? They didn't tell you I was here to set everything up? And so I remember reading about this concept or this strategy, and I was like, oh, dude, that's scary. And then what I would do is I started carrying a sign with me. Now, the first time I ever deployed this, dude, I was scared. I was like, wow, this is really assumptive. This is very, very assumptive. And in fact, I knocked on the door and I started looking, and I was just out there constructing the sign. Like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, is this where you guys want the sign? This is probably going to give us the most visibility here, right? They're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, hey, nope, they didn't call you? Nobody called you to say I was the guy that was setting everything up? They're like, no, called me about what? I'm just the alarm guy. yeah, we're just gonna put the sign over here. Is this a good spot so that everybody can see it? And then I launch right into my pitch. Hey, we're actually doing advertising homes. We want to leave our sign in the front yard. We want people to see the sign. We'll get more business. And for you doing that, we'll actually give you the entire alarm system. All you have to do is pay the police fee. And so the idea behind this is, and then I got in the home and I sold the deal, and I remember being like so excited. And I went back to the hotel that night after everybody was eating. I was the last one home. And I remember telling everybody, dude, this is what I did. It worked. And then it worked time and time and time again. Now, it would require you to be willing to be uncomfortable. It would require you to be just a little bit forcing yourself to communicate in a way that we're not used to communicating. But presuppositions is the best way to guide your customer into making a good decision. Take all of the pressure, take all of the stress off of them, and then now be able to just help them make a decision and make it easy and effortless. Make the transitions go smooth. Get them thinking about owning or having or the state that they're going to have with your product or your service. The idea is that you're able to guide these customers and make it very gentle, make it very easy and effortless, and take the stress out of the decision making. Make the decisions for them because obviously it's best for them, and then be able to steamroll them into the process or the system or thinking about having, attaining, or using your service or product.